The warm and the weird. In all the hand wringing we seem to partake in about what is real and what is not, what is lasting or fleeting. There is enough in our world that is warm, creative, earnest. I felt it this week in the first story about lovers of film and how their passion moves them. True expression can also be jarring, captivating, make us think about the permanent elephant in our room, AI. AI can boost creativity, but I may not mean it in quite the way you might think. On the one hand, the proposition is propped up this week when I look at Netflix's acquisition of Ben Affleck's AI company. On the other, the thought is flipped on its head by the fan reaction to a masked rock duo from Canada. Enter this week's collision of creativity, brands, and tech on the color bar. There's enough to enjoy or contemplate, or both. Cheers. The last picture shop. Now, here's something that will feel good. This here idea, campaign, project, call it what you will, the last picture shop strings together the battling vestige of cinema, the charm of times almost gone by, with that quintessentially modern day idea of crowdsourcing and social media buzz. Umit and Son. It's a quaint shop in East London. Film Archives, it says, under the main shop sign. 65-year-old Umit Mesud has run it for over 40 years. A projectionist and unabashed lover of celluloid, he and his beloved shop now face trying times. If you have ever fallen in love with a film, a record shop, a bookshop, or a place that made you feel less alone, you already understand why this matters. And what is this? Back in 2011, documentary maker Liam St. Pierre made a film that introduced him to Umit. One filmmaker, one film preserver, film lovers both. They became friends and set up a rare film club projecting old movies of 16mm. Years later, Umit and Son finds itself in darker times, and an idea is suddenly sparked.
If I lost a shop, I wouldn't exist. I wouldn't survive. It's my life. It's everything.
Let's go to LA and find the high priest of celluloid, Quentin Tarantino, no less, and see what he thinks of saving this bastion of film. And oh, let's make a film while we are at it. Okay then.
Only Quentin Tarantino would sympathise with Umit because Umit loves film, Tarantino loves film, Umit in a video shop, Quentin Tarantino worked in a video shop, Umit shoots on film, Quentin Tarantino I believe shoots on real film. So I think Quentin Tarantino would be the person to help Umit.
Umit did leave London then for the first time and hopped across to LA once. Since, the last picture shop has blazed past its target amount on Kickstarter this year, and the team are back filming and editing. I don't know if they met Tarantino, nor what is to happen to the shop yet. But I do know that this is the kind of coming together of creativity meets passion, meets wild idea, meets clever commerce that makes it all make sense.
So this is the story of an unlikely couple of film lovers heading off to Los Angeles to ask Quentin Tarantino, the high priest of celluloid, for his help to save the shop before it's lost forever.
Microtonal versus AI. AI can boost creativity, but I don't mean it in the way you might think. We all talk about AI now, online, offline, professionally, personally, casually, contemplatively. Last week, I very unexpectedly bumped into a music recommendation on, of all places, LinkedIn. And I guess I have AI to thank for it. Or more accurately, a less than enthusiastic Gen AI lens to thank for it. You might well have seen Angine de Poitrine in your feeds. It's a Canadian rock duo that's been around for about 2 years but exploded a little bit in the last few weeks, courtesy of a live performance uploaded to YouTube. With their costumes and their masks, they look gimmicky, sure, but their sound is distinct, bold, odd, compelling. I did a piece on them a few days ago. You can watch that and get a glimpse into what they're like. But while there are a few reasons why they've been embraced by so many, one of the filters they are being viewed through is AI. Not because they have used AI in their music, because they have not. And listeners think their distinctive sound makes them a good symbol of the anti-AI, the real, the unique, the humanly expressed. So the point I'm making here is this. We seem to be entering a time, a window for a different sort of real creative freedom right now. For those who want scale and optimization and volume, I'm sure you are leaning right into the AI or considering how you can. Those who want to stand out, break the clutter, shake up their audience, maybe get the heck away from AI and be weird. It has always been so, you say. Yes, fair. That's often been the mandate for creativity to stand out. It has, maybe not by everyone, often been seen primarily as a vehicle to become distinctive. But as more and more people will be surrounded by a sameness, even if they don't recognize it, this time we are in feels like a free pass to be weird with our expression. Reckless, even. And that pass comes with an expiry date, I think. So go on, let's find our inner weirdos. Brands at play. Crappy photos for the win. Iceland Air is looking for a really bad photographer. That's verbatim. In this latest stunt, they want to prove to the world that, quote, even the worst photographer can take great photos of Iceland, end quote, because, hey, the country is just so damn photogenic. It's a fair call, actually. Requirements include, I quote, you're frequently disappointed with your own photos. And then they had to go follow it up with another post just to clarify this is all very real. A fully paid trip, 50K in cash, and a few hundred more crappy photos on your phone. It sounds like a deal to me. Well played, Iceland Air. A reminder, last year they played off the whole real fake conversation with a spot which I've linked to, which followed a bloke who claimed Iceland is AI generated. Yes, the entire country itself. Nike's misstep. At the Boston Marathon, Nike might have thought it was rechanneling its edgy attitude with a billboard that said, runners welcome, walkers tolerated. While some thought it was cool and kinda amusing, most reactions weren't great, including from runners who felt it was not in sync with the community's ethos. Nike eventually pulled down the ad and apologized. They said of the ad, we want more people to feel welcome in running, no matter their pace, experience, or distance. One of them missed the mark. Yeah, no, that copy doesn't exactly scream welcoming no matter. Quite literally. Some reactive advertising followed too. I've linked to some stuff that the other brands did. I'm not a fan of the ad, sure, but this is also a reminder of how brands are not as in control of their own narrative as they used to be and how quickly they can lose that control. It also came around the same time of similar non-inclusive messaging from Nike in London. For what it's worth, the Boston board was replaced with one that said, movement is what matters. All right, Nike, if you say so. Ben Affleck, Netflix, and AI. A brief stroll today around the Netflix acquisition of Ben Affleck's AI company, Interpositive. Many were surprised when it was announced back in March, but then the dots connected quite well actually, explaining Affleck's fairly clued in takes on AI and movie making in recent times. First off, be clear this is not another consumer facing text to video play. It's an internal filmmaking toolset, not one intended to magically generate movies from prompts. Netflix and Affleck both have leaned hard into the creator first narrative. This is framed as a tool that supports filmmakers, not undermines them. The AI trains on production's own footage to help solve expensive, time consuming post production problems. Think continuity fixes, relighting, reframing, wire removal, background cleanups, and color matching. Now, in theory, this means it is less about reimagining the creative process or nudging out directors and actors, and more about removing friction from filmmaking. Needless to say, there is both positive interest as well as skepticism because many of all the tasks it will take on are, after all, human tasks right now. The economic incentive for Netflix here clearly and unsurprisingly seems to be speed, scale, and lower costs. And while some might wish such tools can enable new and independent creative voices, gotta point out, this one is very much locked in within Netflix's walls. It's not something openly available to any filmmaking community. The patent was made available then, and inevitably eyes were drawn to examples in the paperwork. The filing had projections which shaved double digit percentage points of costs in various departments using this tech in a sample production, from VFX to art, set, and background actors. I've linked to a piece by Adrian Lopez who broke down the shaky ground for the VFX community, while an article in Rest of World looks at the impact on the VFX global workforce. A A quote: if AI tools begin handling tasks like cleanup, relighting, or even base compositing, the biggest impact will be at the entry level. Dinex Kazi told Rest of the World. Those early stage opportunities are where artists traditionally learn by doing. End quote. Relatedly, I also learned that Netflix opened a new facility recently called Eyeline Studios in Hyderabad, India. It is designed for what Netflix calls generative virtual effects. Watch that space. I am far more interested in all these kind of developments than the hey, look, I can prompt Hollywood level stuff that is flashed around our feeds. Curated cut from Mahila. Now, this is the kind of thing you may or may not give a moment or three to when it shows up in your feed, but today you could give it a shot. It's an example of what modern brand storytelling can be. I say can be, not is, because far too many brands are nowhere near this confidence displayed by apparel brand Mahila based out of the UK. Now, yes, Mahila appears to be a small brand, social native, with a niche audience and shorn of some of the trappings that bigger brands have to deal with. Beyond that, honestly, it's this piece is not about some stunning craft or path breaking narrative. Even if the genre or content or attitude, and man, there is attitude, may not be your cup of chai, I like how a pretty simple idea and execution is made memorable with some great writing, and that the brand believes this will leave a mark on its audience. And so to quick hits. For Netflix, APAC is emerging as its fastest growing market in Q1 26. The region posted a 20% year on year rise in revenue. Deepfake protection is coming to YouTube. Their proprietary detection tool is, quote, now open to anyone at high risk of having their likeness abused. Actors, athletes, creators, and musicians, whether they have a YouTube channel or not, can sign up to identify and request removal of deepfakes on the platform. End quote. Any public figure will need to opt in for this, though. I've linked to the full and fairly long Hollywood Reporter piece. Norway is the latest country looking to pass a bill later this year on banning social media for under 16s, one of many European policy conversations after Australia led with a world first ban in December of 2025. That's about it this week. If you enjoyed reading the color bar, go to the link in the newsletter and get me a coffee. It'll help fuel the next one. And do support by sharing the pieces you like or forwarding this to others who might enjoy it. Please ping me with any feedback or recommendations to feature or write about, and ideas to collaborate if you have any. I work with individuals and teams on content and creativity. For a more eclectic set of writings, I would love for you to have a look at my other Substack, Coffee and Conversations. Till next week, stay weird.